Guys, it's Ben again from Nerf Mods for Dummies, and today we're going to be doing the Mega Magnus. Now this, even now today, is still my favourite of the Mega Blasters. It's got a 3-shot internal magazine, and with the spring upgrade is really good. I have my own one which I've customised, which I'll show later, which is a 6-shot, which has got an integration of a cartridge. But this still out of the box with a simple spring upgrade will get you about 100 feet per second with mega darts, which is pretty good when you're talking about mega darts. So let's start on it. As always, unprime it first, and let's get all these screws undone. There's a fair few on this. There is one hidden one, but I'll show you that when we get to it. When the Magnus came out, it was the only mega pistol at the time, and even now with the Cyclone Shock and Big Shock, I still think the Magnus is the best of them all. Some people like the Cyclone Shock, but yep, this is my favourite. Get the slide undone first. Now, hidden screw is in here. Not really hidden, but it's hidden when the slide's on. And when you undo all these screws, you do have an attachment point here, which is spring loaded, so that will come out at you. And as always too, I look forward to comments to what other blasters you'd like to see done. With these videos too, like I said, these are for CQB or HVZ, so I'm not going extremely hard on these for upgrades. Just a spring replacement to double the output on it, which I think is more than enough. But once again, you do what you want to do to your toys. This is my toy. You do what you want to your toys. Alright, last one here. Now, the good thing about the Magnus too, most of the internals are pretty well locked in place, so you're not going to have much of a problem. Now, my thumb is over the accessory port at the end here, which just sprung up on me, but it's not going anywhere now. There we go, that should be it. A little bit more on that one. I left the shell straight off, so all your screws stay in place. You don't have to worry about what went where, or what the size differences are. Okay, like I said, that's the accessory rail. You can take a picture of this if you want, but I don't see a lot of a point because you have the plunger cylinder, internal mag here, and the dart holder there. So first off, you just got to lift that out. Take out the dart holder. So I've done this quite a few times because I'm a fan of the Magnus. Lift it straight out, easy. And you've got to get this off the priming bar there. Lift that up and pull it out. Unless you're ripping at it and pulling at it really hard, nothing here is going to come out of place. This is all your trigger system in here. All this is now is I'm putting in this 7 kilo spring, which is a lot firmer than this. It is still a very long spring. It's about double the length of a Retaliator spring. This one is made by Blaster Parts, which is a German-based company who have agents in different countries. In Australia, their agent is Slidev, who's a 3D printer and Blaster Parts stockist in Melbourne here in Australia. And that's where I order mine from. But I'll put a link to Blaster Parts' website, and they should be able to tell you from there who their affiliates are in your respective country. Okay, sorry if I've done that too quick, but I'll do it again, just to be sure. So I'm very familiar with this, so that's just popped out, which is no biggie. Just slots back in. When I started modding, the Magnus was the first one I started with. So I liked it, because I've got big hands and I liked it. Okay, so sorry once again. New spring in. The air restrictor system is inside the plunger tube here. People ask about AR removal all the time. If it's in an Elite blaster, which Mega is an M-Strike Elite Mega, I don't do it, because all it does is put internal pressure on a very good air system. These let through probably like 90-98% of the airflow straight through, unlike the old system. So taking out the air restrictor does nothing but weaken it. You might get 1 or 2 feet per second, but all it's going to do is weaken it, and it's not going to last as long. Okay, so with this, I'm sliding the spring into the little catch here, pushing in, a little bit of a wiggle, and it's actually got, when I bed it in, I'll show you, there's little nubs here that it locks into, so you know it's sitting exactly where it needs to. Okay, on the inside there, try to get the camera to focus on it, in there, there's little grooves in the plunger, and there's little parts on the inside of the shell, and that will lock in place, so that's not going anywhere now. Next thing is to put the internal mag back in, which is just holding it this way up, so the catch part is on the bottom, touching the back plate. Put it over the little stopper here, and it will sit directly in. I'll push it down a bit. It sits inside the guide there. So that's how it sits, and it's perfect. So you put the accessory part back in here. Accessory rail, whatever you want to call it. And now with this part here, which is the dart guide, you push in, actually no, you push it in there first, because it locks into that. It's sealed, it's locked. You just sit it down in place and just let it sit there. Put the shell in and everything locks back into place. Just make sure everything, and you just want to hear that snapping of it going back into place. There you go. Something didn't work, or I'm not going to edit this, so I'm just going to show. If it happens to me, it can probably happen to you. Something stopped it. I didn't push the plunger tube down far enough. Watch here. See? Now it's pushed down. Once again, push that in the back part here first, because it's locked in, and then the rest just sits until the shell holds it in place. Everything else is fine. Let's get some screws done up while this is getting back in place. There's a crooked one here which is causing me problems. There. Okay, so let's get this done up. Sometimes you've got to just squeeze it and hold it in place. It doesn't want to go back together sometimes. But all the internals will settle with a few screws done up. A little half prime to make sure everything's settling in place. So that's the priming part there that catches the plunger, and that's what primes the blaster. Yeah, I think with that little bit of movement, everything is settled back in. Let's get it all screwed up. Now with this blaster too, I want to do a big shout out and thank you to Mike from Australian Nerf Turf for giving me this blaster to use on this video, because I don't own a stock version of a Magnus. Australian Nerf Turf is a group in Australia that runs off Facebook as well as eBay. He's a buyer and seller of older blasters, which he will do up, give them a once over, give them a good clean out and resell them. So if you're looking for your older stuff in really good condition, I suggest you get onto his eBay or his Facebook page, which I'll put a link to in the description. But he's also he now does springs. So you can get your 6 kilo retaliator springs, 7.5 kilo strong arm springs, and he's about to start with 12 kilo retaliator springs, which will be his next one. But he's always going to be upgrading and updating what he does, and he is now just starting venturing into 3D printing parts, so that will be available soon on his page and in his web store. That's Australian Nerf turf, and I'll put a link up in the video in the description. So he gave me this blaster for the whole purpose of doing this video, so big thanks to Mike from Australian Nerf turf. So that's it, everything's done, tightened up. Doesn't sound it, but it's about twice as powerful, Mr. Screw. And this will, like I said, it will put a mega through at about 100 feet per second. I didn't grab one. Let me pause it and grab a mega. Sorry about not being prepared. So here's a mega dart going in. This is a Busby mega. Just said it gives it one good upgrade. Try it one more time. Maybe on a dart that isn't busted, because it won't give the best outcome. So anyway, I'll just put it in there to show it shoots. There you go. And that's the Mega Magnus with the 7 kilo upgrade spring available through Blaster Parts, which I believe is www.blasterparts.de by memory, but I will look it up and put it in the description. And again, the blaster was thankfully donated by Australian Nerf Turf, and I'll put a link to Australian Nerf Turf's Facebook page in the description. Thanks again for watching, guys. Please like, share and subscribe for more videos.